Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Rachel Klein, and I will be your presenter today. Today, we are going to look at how to generate mid-year donation statements. So the process is very similar to how you would run donation statements, whether you're doing it quarterly or even for the whole year. We're just going to kind of talk through some different options for the date range and how you want the dates and pledges, if you're a pledging church, to appear on the donation statement themselves. All right, so let's go ahead and open up donations here. In the donations module, you can get to the donation statement screen one of two ways. You can get to it up at the top under reports and export, donation statement, or you can get to it right here in the middle. Something I want to talk about before I open those screens has to do with pledging. So if you are a pledging church, the date range that you use on your donation statement, I think, should be decided based on how you want your pledges to appear, right? So I'm going to go into pledges real quick here, and I'm going to pull up a 2024 campaign. A couple things I want to point out. When you run your donation statement, you can decide what date range you want reflected on the statement itself, okay? So what that means is that when you run in there, you can decide, do I want to run the statement and see from the first of the year to the last day of the year and run it today, but include the whole year? Or since we're doing mid-year donation statements, do you want to run it through 1/1/2024 to June 30th, 2024? Now, something to keep in mind if you are a pledging church. Your pledges will be calculated based on the date range you decide to run your statements for. So what that means is the software is going to look at people's pledge frequencies to calculate their pledge based on the date range. So for example, this weekly pledger, if we choose to run our donation statement for the entire year, their pledge amount is going to be $5,200. If we choose to run the donation statements from the first of the year to June 30th, it's only going to calculate out half of the year. So their pledge amount will be half. And that's what this is going to show on the statement itself. If you want to see people's full pledge amounts, then you need to use the whole year to run your statements. If you're okay with the software calculating out the pledge based on the date range, then put in the date range you want. So monthly people, it's only going to show, monthly people, it's only going to show it for 6 months. Weekly, it's going to calculate out the weeks. Quarterly, it's going to do that as well. Now this date range is for 12/30. That's why some of these are looking kind of wonky. Let me fix that really quick. I was wondering why those numbers is only a quarterly pledge and only had a 3 instead of a 4. So let's get that updated. There we go. That looks a lot better. Okay, so then quarterly people the same. If you run it for the whole year, their pledge is going to show 4,000. If you only run it for half of the year, their pledge will show 2,000. Flat people will always show their full pledge amount regardless of what date range you do. Annual people are a little more tricky. So if you have any annual pledges and you don't run your statements for the whole year, your annual pledgers are going to have a pledge amount of 0 because they need the date range of the entire year to calculate out the pledge. Okay, so that's my little blurb about pledges if you're a pledging church. If you're not, don't pay attention to what I just said, but if you are a pledging church, the date range that you use is really crucial for how your pledges are calculated, okay? I hope that's clear. Let's move on. Okay, open up donation statement. If you come to this screen and you don't change a single thing and you just click the next button, the default criteria is going to be to pull anyone who has given so far this year. Okay, that default criteria is that. So if you come in here and you just want people who gave in this date range, all you have to do is hit next. You don't have to change a single thing on this screen, which is really nice. Now, if you have different types of criteria for your donation statements, then you're going to have to sit here and put that in, okay? Something really simple to do here to change your date range, you can simply just click right here and you can type in no dashes or slashes, just the digits 06/30/2024. And that's then going to quickly change your date range to what you want. Again, if you don't come into this section, it's only going to pull people that have given within the date range that you specified. Now, with that being said, you can definitely come in here to the number 3, click this Add Giving Pledge and Selection Criteria button, and you can specify who you want. Okay, so like I said, the default is going to be only those who gave. Maybe you want people, just your pledgers. That's the case. You could do giving include of all and only those who pledged. So the webinar that I did previously on donation statements goes into this query builder screen in a lot more depth, but typically most of the people that I talk to, they will just come in here, leave the default of only those who gave, adjust the date range, and hit next. Very simple, okay? Also, if you look up here in the top, the default criteria includes members, visitors, and an active. That's not going to be everyone who's inactive. That's only going to be inactive people that have given within your specified date range, okay? You can change that if you wish. You can go into Edit People Selection Criteria. You can get rid of inactive people. You can get rid of visitors. You can choose to pull people of a specific status code, attendance, whatever you want. The possibilities are here for membership criteria, okay? Now, something else to keep in mind too up here on the Accounts tab. If you only want people who have given to a particular account within the date range, come to this Accounts tab and you can move, double click, or highlight and hit the arrow to select that specific giving account. If you choose this, it's only going to pull people that have given to the accounts you move to the right. Okay. You can also select a campaign. Again, if you're a pledging church and you only want your pledgers to this campaign, you can go ahead and select that in this campaign box here. And then if we come back into the Query Builder tab, you can specify obviously that you want only those who pledge to that campaign. Okay. Pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and close this out because I've been clicking a bunch, and I'm going to reopen it so I can start fresh. So again, if I don't change anything here, I'm going to get a donation statement for everyone who has given within this date range. I'm going to go ahead, for example's sake, and change it to 6/30. I'm going to come up here to my Sort tab. I'm going to specify the order that I want those donation statements to print in. You can do number, order, name, or zip code. And I'm going to go ahead and hit Next. That's going to take me over to my Step 2 screen. From here, bottom of the screen, I am going to see all of the people, or the giving units, I should say, that meet my criteria of giving from the 1st of the year to June 30th. And again, it's going to calculate out that pledge amount based on the date range that I'm using. If you look up here to the right, you can see because I changed the date back on the first screen, it's reflected down here as well for my detail and my account summary section. Statement layout, windowed envelope. Again, this seems to be the go-to statement layout that most people are going to choose. If you find it showing too much information or you want to adjust some of the information, you can come here into the statement designer and do so. A global memo, this is the message that actually appears at the bottom of every single person's donation statement. If you want to make a new message or edit a previously used one, hit this little memo button. It's going to open up a new screen. You can put in a title here and call it mid-year thanks. And then you can type something up to the effect of, here's your donations for, might be a good idea to reiterate the date range. Maybe say your pledge is calculated based on the date range. If you have any questions, call so-and-so, or whatever you want to put down there. Open text box, you can type that in, okay? Once you add the message, you just hit add. It's going to pop down below. If you find you want to make a change, click on it specifically. Your cursor will go right in there, and you can make an adjustment if you need to. Say OK. And then that option is going to be here for you in the global memo. If you want a message letting you know that donation statements are going more than one page for printing purposes, you can check that. If you are not a pledging church and you don't have pledging information to show, you can check this Do Not Show Pledging Information box, and that removes anything on the statement with just a click that involves pledging. Okay. If you do not show separate tax deductibility detail sections, again, it's just an option. If you don't want to see what's tax deductible and what's not in separate sections, you can check or uncheck that box. Completely up to you. Okay. I'm going to leave everybody checked to print. If you're interested in emailing, again, that is another webinar that I've done. It's out on the Resource Center. Feel free to head out and watch that. It is a full 20 minutes on its own. Okay. So let's hit print/email statements, and we'll get that print preview to appear. And again, this is the template, so it's going to fill in your church information. It's then going to fill in your giver's information here. Also, if you use giver numbers, that will show the statement date range you ran will print here. Okay, so that's important for people to see, and then the total given within that date range. Down at the bottom, first section, it's going to show you each individual gift that was given. This person is not a pledger. You can see here, 0 zeros all the way. There's our global memo that we made. Let's find a pledger here. I know we have one, the Bells. Yep, the Bells are pledgers. So they have a gift to building, and they have a gift so far to general. We can easily see this is a pledge. It's in parentheses. It's showing us the date range that they've pledged. They are a weekly pledger, $100. Here is their pledged amount, again, based on this date range, and then how much they've given so far, and then their over/under at this point for mid-year. Okay. This is the approved IRS message that has to be on all of your donation statements. It's already set up for you in this layout. Pretty straightforward. So again, it's not going to be a lot different than how you would run your end of year statements, but it is important for pledging churches to keep in mind the date range. Okay. And that is everything I was hoping to go over with you all today.